Hey folks, in this video we're going to go over the basics of the neopixel strip. We start off with strand tests that everybody should have already experimented with a little bit, but you notice that it is way too complicated. There's all these different functions in here, and we don't know what any of them do. See, we have nested for loops and different things. We need a few basic commands, and we need a few basic for loops, and then we're going to be able to do a lot of what we want to do with just those things. So we're going to start off with something a lot simpler. We're just going to import the libraries here, and then we're going to declare and initialize a new Adafruit neopixel object, and we'll call it strip. And then here we are saying that this particular strip you can see over here, I'm going to use 10 of the pixels. It's plugged into pin 6, and then this last bit in here, don't mess with that. Unless you find that things really don't work later, but we don't want to mess around with that last argument in there. Alright, inside the setup we have strip.begin and strip.show. Strip.show is the command that's going to push all of the different colors or light settings to the pixels themselves. So if you find that your pixels don't light up, you may have just forgotten to use strip.show. I've done that a lot. All right, the first thing we'll do is the most basic thing, and that's just turn one on. And so I will use the command from down here. Notice all that's commented out. We'll do that later. All right, and I'm going to turn on the first pixel. So that's pixel 0. And I'll try and upload it. Okay, it didn't light up. Or has it uploaded? Yeah, it's uploaded. It didn't light up. Well, let's see. I forgot to do the strip.show. There we go. So I'll go ahead and just copy this line. And I'll try to upload it again. All right, there we see the first pixel is on at the index of 0. Great, so we could do this, we could change all these numbers and do this manually, but the point of this assignment is really to look at for loops, and so we're going to look at some examples of for loops. All right, the first example we'll do is just turning each one on. So this is our for loop. I'm going to start out at some integer called I, and set it equal to 0. So I'm declaring and initializing a variable I to 0. I'm going to go until I is less than 10, so that'll be 9. And I'm going to, this last part here, after this last semicolon, is the incrementer, so I'm incrementing by 1. Remember, I++ just increments by 1. All right, so it's going to start out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we have declared initialized I as a variable. It equals 0. And this for loop, what it's going to do is it's going to do everything inside of these curly braces until this condition is met where I is no longer less than 10. Okay, so once I tries to do 10, it'll quit. It won't do that. So the first thing we do is we want to use this variable I, and so instead of typing in a number right here for which pixel we turned on like we did before, we're just going to use I. And when we upload it, we should see that we upload, we turn on the ith pixel, we actually make it appear, and then it goes up. And so let's just double check. Okay, and there they all go one at a time, and we get 10 pixels lit up. Great. Now you notice I have more pixels on this pixel strip that I'm not using. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that I'm not using. And so I can just change the limits of my in my for loop here. So instead of going until it's less than 10, now I'll do it until it's less than 14. And it didn't do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell it that I had 14 pixels up here. So it thinks it's a strip that only has 10 pixels as of that sketch. Great. Okay, so we've seen some errors there, and that's fine. And now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change this back to 10, just to keep things really simple. And we'll go ahead and look at this next for loop. So I'll uncomment that out. All right, now this next for loop is going to start at I equals 9. And remember that we're up here we went to I equals 9 by saying less than 10. And down here we're going to start at 9, and we're going to go until I is greater than or equal to 0. So really we're going until I equals 0. And then here you see I minus minus. And that means to decrement I, or go down by 1. And this 0, 0, 0 says to turn all the brightnesses of the red, green, and blue to 0, which will be off. And hopefully now we'll see all the pixels turn on and all the pixels turn back. Well, the first 10 turn on and then back off. Great. Now, if you mess up where you put this strip.show method, if you, for example, put that after the delay, things act a little bit weird. If you put that outside of the for loop, things act really weird. If you want things to turn on one at a time, you need for the pixel to turn on and then to immediately use strip.show. All right, notice that this saves us a lot of time in terms of writing code once we can do this. And we can also do really funky things like, instead of starting at the first pixel, we could start at the 5th pixel. And then, let's see, less than or equal to 4. And so now we should be able to turn on just a few of the pixels in the middle, and so we can control which ones come on as we like. Right? And see, we notice that we just have a few of the pixels turning on, and we can control these a lot more specifically. We could also use I in the colors. Right? Notice that anywhere we can use a number or variable, we can use I. So I can say I times, let's see, we're going up to 10, so we'll say 15, and let's give it some blue, and we'll do the same thing here, I times 15. And so now we should see some different colors once this uploads. Cool. And so we see some different colors. Your assignment is, you're going to have a couple of assignments just to play with these for loops in different ways, and the point is really just to practice doing these for loops and getting them working. And then you'll have a lot more control over your lights, and you'll be able to make a lot more interesting interactive projects. All right, good luck, and see you next time.